All right, welcome back to the AI Research Roundup. I'm your host, Alex. So today we're diving into a fascinating article titled Tracing the Thoughts of a Large Language Model. Well, it's actually two papers. The first detailing a new interpretability method, an AI microscope, and the second applying it to Anthropic's Claude model. Okay, so the core idea is to peek inside these LLMs, trace the flow of information, and understand how they reason, essentially creating computational circuits out of interpretable features. This helps us understand how input becomes output. Okay, so this figure visualizes the universal language of thought idea. It shows how Claude finds the opposite of small in English, Chinese, and French. Well, the interesting part is how the processing converges on shared multilingual features and a core antonym concept, before branching out to produce the correct answer, large, die, and grand, in each language. So this supports the idea of a shared conceptual space, like a universal translator in the model's brain. Okay, so this figure shows how Claude plans ahead when writing poetry, specifically rhyming couplets. It demonstrates, well, how the model anticipates using rabbit to rhyme with it. Researchers suppressed rabbit, forcing Claude to use habit instead. Then they injected green, which Claude used to generate a totally different second line. So this shows Claude doesn't just generate word by word, but actually plans ahead, supporting the paper's findings on planning and reasoning abilities. Okay, so this figure visualizes Claude solving a math problem, 36 plus 59. Well, it shows how Claude uses two parallel pathways, one approximating the answer and another determining the last digit. So it breaks down the numbers, processing them in different ways, and then combines the results to get the final answer, 95. It's another example of how this AI microscope reveals the complex reasoning processes happening inside the model, like those multi-step reasoning capabilities mentioned in the summary. Okay, so this figure from page 11, well, it visualizes Claude's multi-step reasoning, similar to the math problem example. It shows how Claude determines the capital of the state containing Dallas. So it extracts Dallas, then Texas, then combines them with capital to produce Austin. This supports the paper's point about combining facts, not just memorization, for multi-step reasoning. Okay, so this figure on page 12, well, it visualizes Claude's default refusal behavior mentioned in the summary. It compares two scenarios, one with Michael Jordan, a known entity, and one with Michael Batkin, an unknown person. So when Claude knows the answer, a known answer feature activates, inhibiting the can't answer pathway. But with Batkin, that unknown name feature triggers the default refusal response, showing how Claude handles uncertainty. Quite interesting. Alright, so this figure on page 14, it visualizes a jailbreak attempt mentioned in the summary. Okay, so someone tricks Claude into starting to explain how to make a bomb, using a coded message. Well, interestingly, Claude begins generating the answer, but then its refusal mechanisms kick in, preventing it from completing the harmful instructions. So this shows how grammatical completion triggers those safety protocols, like the default refusal behavior we saw earlier. Okay, so this blog post describes some fascinating research on how large language models, specifically Claude, actually think. Researchers developed this AI microscope to look inside the model and, well, they found some surprising things. Like, Claude seems to have a universal language of thought, planning abilities, and sometimes even fabricates reasoning. This research is a big step towards understanding these complex systems. And, well, shows us there's still a lot to learn. Thanks for joining me for this AI Research Roundup. This is Alex, signing off.